Coming up from Japan, if you don't grind, you don't shrine. We bring you behind the scenes of one of the most iconic locations of the World Tour. Lee Jung-sung from Seoul, Korea leads us through his unorthodox introduction to 3x3. And we sat down with the one and only Dusan Bulut. Plus, you want to stay tuned to the end of the magazine for the best plays of the tournament. It's quick, it's epic, and now it's Olympic. Welcome to the world of FIBA 3x3 basketball, a game played with non-stop music on a half court with one hoop between two teams of 3 players going to 21 points over a 10-minute period. Previously at the FIBA 3x3 World Tour, the reigning champs Ljubljana from Slovenia started 2017 the same way they ended 2016, winning titles and cashing checks. Ljubljana beat hometown heroes Saskatoon in the final of the Saskatoon Masters, and not only did they win a ticket to the World Tour final in Beijing, they also dethroned their old rivals Novi Sad Awada as the new #1 3x3 team in the world. Good news is both teams are traveling to Utsunomiya, Japan for the second Masters of the season. The World Tour has brought 3x3 to some of the most iconic places on the planet. But who would have thought the game would be played in the middle of a Shinto shrine like the Fuda Arayama Jinja Shrine in Utsunomiya?
先人が作ってきた1600年前のこの神社歴史と新しい今の歴史文化が融合した場所、これが最も 3x3 にふさわしい土地だと思ってこの場所を選定しました。
The shrine was originally built to cherish as sacred the kami, the name given to the spirits of the ancient ancestors of the people of the Utsunomiya region. We sat down with our special host who welcomed the World Tour to the shrine and organized a memorable opening ceremony.
神様は喜んでいると思います。神社っていうのはお祭りの場所なんですね。お祭りっていうのは神様と人とが和み楽しむところなんです。そして特に毎朝その祈っているのは今言ったように世界の平和を祈り、そしているわけですから、世界の平和の祭典であるこのスポーツというのがここで日本でいろんな人たちと交流ができて、非常にその平和のシンボルとしてやられていることは大変望ましいことで、大変神様は非常に喜んでいると思います。そんなことで去年もやっていただいて、今年もやっていただいて、本当に神社としても大変嬉しく思ってます。
What a difference 2 weeks makes. Ljubljana was undefeated in 10 games at the World Tour after winning the title last year and started the season with a W at the Saskatoon Masters. But as the team traveled to Japan, all the lights turned to red with Saskatoon MVP Tomo Chajic out with a back injury and the rest of the team unable to buy a bucket. The Slovenian team lost the opener to Ulaanbaatar from Mongolia and exited the tournament after a second straight loss to Okayama, the only Japanese team at the tournament. During Okayama's win, Devon Washington put on the Jets and flew higher than Mount Fuji.
That's a win! Washington, two-handed boom session on the alley-oop.
Meantime, Ljubljana's arch rivals Novi Sad Awada, well, they were doing amazing things. Thanks for asking. Last year's Utsunomiya Masters winners started things off with a convincing win over Seoul with the maestro Dejan Majstorovic scoring 9 of his team's 21 points. And when Ilya Alexandrov, a.k.a. the Wolverine, started flashing his claws for St. Petersburg, it was all Dusan Bulut. Mr. Bulletproof had the best offensive performance of the day with 14 big points, including 7 in 1 minute to close the game.
And now Dusan's probably going to be a little bit more serious with the final possession. A little turnaround, yeah, that's how you do it.
Team Piran was outstanding in Utsunomiya last year before disappearing in the final against Novi Sad Awada. The Slovenians came back with a vengeance on day one. first punching on Team Auckland from New Zealand 22-11, and then won a nail-biter against Team Krakow R8 Basket of Poland. The number 13 player in the world, Gasper Ovnik, led his team in scoring with 7 points, and although Michael Money in the Bank Hicks sprinkled a little trash talk on Adin Kadgic, Piran got the last laugh with a narrow 18-17 win. After Okayama, Novi Sad Awada, and Piran, Zemun from Serbia were the last team undefeated from day one. Shinshu from Chinese Taipei gave him a little scare in the opener with some eyes in the back of their head type court vision. But the Dragon Bogdan Dragovic paced his team to a 21-15 W. When your nickname is Dragon, you gotta be able to catch fire. And that's exactly what the 26-year-old did in their second game against Serbian rivals Lehman. Dragovic turned the number 5 seed to ashes with a game-high 11 points, including the 2-pointer for the win.
First to 21 wins it. This could do it, and it does it.
Team Krakow R8 Basket star Michael Hicks topped all scores day one as he made it rain figuratively and literally in Japan. Devon Washington from Okayama and Dragovic from Zemun were second and third respectively. So day one ends with a shocker in Pool A with the reigning World Tour champs Ljubljana out and Okayama and Ulaanbaatar in, advancing to the quarterfinals. Novi Sad Awada and St. Petersburg say who got next in Pool B, while Piran and Krakow R8 Basket made it to day two in Pool C. And Serbia's leaders of the new school, Zemun and Lehman, ready to take over the knockout round. You've noticed his game and his shoulder tattoo. Team Seoul captain Lee Sung-jung caught our eye in Utsunomiya. Funny thing is he probably wouldn't even be here if not for a reality TV show about 3x3 in South Korea.
25 years ago in Korea, basketball was huge. It was like the #1 sport. And since then, basketball's been kind of going down, like losing popularity. So there's a couple of like big time entertainers, like comedians and whatnot that love basketball. And they're trying to like help basketball grow again. So last year we did a like a street ball TV show. The show is called Rebound. Like that's pretty easy to remember.
It's your turn!
I was one of the coaches on the team. We had 4 teams that we made together of 10 players. And then we had just like a round robin tournament where the teams played each other and then the winners got 100 grand. The players on our team today, 2 of the guys were on the show with me. So it's kind of fun for us to have been on the show. Interest got like peaked a little bit. Now 3-on-3 is kind of keeping the momentum going. So it's a very exciting time for basketball in Korea.
The 6'8" Lee made his international 3x3 debut at the FIBA 3x3 World Cup 2017. And the level of skills caught him completely off guard.
Yeah, when we were playing at the World Cup in France, we were not prepared to play at the Netherlands. And that came out. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know the play style. They came out and just crushed us immediately. We couldn't even come back. We were overwhelmed. And I think that first game helped us because we were like, wow, this is the level. We need to wake up.
Lee's World Cup campaign ended on a win against Indonesia and an even bigger win for the popularity of 3x3 and basketball in general in South Korea.
The people that were watching our games in France, like the viewership was like unreal. So when we got back to Korea, we did interviews for almost like a week or 2 weeks straight. We met with people to start a pro league. So in that time, we got a FIBA license. They're building courts in multiple venues around Korea, inside shopping malls, so we can have like actual venues to play the pro league. Tournaments are popping up, teams are popping up. In just a small amount of time, like they're really trying to put this together to get ready for Asian Games, and hopefully qualify for Olympics and whatnot. So the excitement and the endorsement, the interest is growing like daily. It's really exciting.
Here's a quick look at the quarterfinals bracket, including a highly anticipated rematch of last year's semifinals between Piran and St. Petersburg. This could be the game to watch. No more rain. Japan finally lived up to its name of the land of the rising sun on day 2, and a massive crowd came early to support their proteges, Team Okayama. And when big man Gary Hamilton gave the locals the lead, there was more noise than a Beyonce concert. Lehman played with just 3 players on the court as Marko Brankovic stayed glued to the bench with a leg injury. But when Stefan Stojacic plays like that, there's no need for more than 1 player on the court. The 28-year-old started a crazy one-man show with more deuces than Wimbledon. Stojacic had a game-high 12 points and helped Lehman advance to the semifinals of a Masters for just the 2nd time ever.
They're a good team, really playing good, but we look at their games, we prepare for the game, and then we do what we want to do, and at the end we won.
Remember how I hyped up the quarterfinal between St. Petersburg and Piran? Well, a few minutes passed, and the next thing I know, Piran are up 16-3 on the scoreboard. Piran torpedoed Zemarin, and the Wolverine, Ilya Alexandrov, looked like a kitten out there. In the meantime, everybody on the Piran team was scoring from the outside. I mean, everybody. Everybody. I think it's safe to say we probably shouldn't listen to any more of my predictions.
It was a tough defense in the beginning. Then the pace ran down a little, got settled in, and from then on, we moved forward and never looked back.
After leading all scores and hitting 8 shots from beyond the arc in 2 games on day 1, the fans were keen to see what Michael Money in the Bank Hicks could do against 2-time World Tour winners Novi Sad Awada. Problem is, Marco Savage went all Ocean's 11 on him. The 30-year-old scored 11 points and did his best Kanye impression, stole the show. Hicks finished with just 5 points and couldn't connect from long distance. 3x3 star Dusan Bulut was quiet as well thanks to Peter Reinkeel's pesky defense. He still found a way to give us a little highlight though. And how about my man Dejan Majstorovic? Well, here he is to deliver the post-game interview.
When Savic play like he played in the quarterfinal, we cannot lose against anybody.
Tired of these blowouts? Me too. And Zaymoon and Ulaanbaatar agree. The 2 teams went tit for tat in this one. Bogdan Dragovic was back in business for the return of the Dragon, but Ulaanbaatar Inc. Taiwan shut him down like St. George. Singun Bayar Gotov carried the load on offense with a game-high 6 points, and his teammate Dogon Inkbot iced the game from the free throw line. Final score 13-10, and of course more screen time for the Mongolian national flag. You can't knock out Michael Money in the Bank Hicks. He's always gonna come back. Just a few moments after losing to Novi Sad Awada in the quarterfinal, the U.S.-born star entered the shootout contest with 8 points to beat to take the lead. Now remember, the final sees 4 players hit 15 shots worth 1 point from 3 destinations around the arc, and 3 money balls worth 2 points from the 3x3 logo. Did I hear money ball? Because Hicks is more money than Mayweather himself. He already surpassed the first 2 contestants after the first 3 racks, and then he stepped up to the money ball rack. Hicks fell just 1 money ball short of the World Tour's all-time best of 15 points. Michael Woodbridge from Auckland, New Zealand wouldn't top that. Hicks wins his 3rd shootout ever at the World Tour after Lausanne in 2015 and Beijing last year.
That's my specialty, you know. That's who I am, you know. It's like waking up in the morning, easy.
Just 2 weeks after winning the dunk contest in his home country, Justin Just Fly Darlington is back at the World Tour. But this time, no easy money. Polish pro dunker Arek Przybylski, a.k.a. Arrow, started strong. And even World Tour player Devon Washington proved he could hang a little bit. But Just Fly told Washington, hold this rock for me real quick, I'll show you how it's done. Arrow and Just Fly moved on to the final, and the Polish dunker elevated his game all the way up and over Peter Reinkiel. Just Fly said, I can dunk over Krakow players too. And he flew over the tallest of all of them, Lucas Bodie. But Arrow wasn't done yet, and he needed no props to nail down the one-handed 360 monster match. Just Fly responded with his signature cartwheel dunk that got him a 4-point lead after 2 dunks. Errol had to take some risks if he wanted to win this contest, and this is what he delivered. Errol ties the highest score of the contest with a 29, which means Just Fly needs a 25 to tie and a 26 to win. And this Canadian ain't the type of dude that's gonna crack under pressure. He picks up the other individual contest winner, Michael Money in the Bank Hicks, and delivers a perfect 30-piece. So it's not just you having deja vu. Justin Just Fly Darlington wins again at the World Tour for the second time in 2 weeks, and he goes home with a giant $2,000 check.
It feels good, I wish I could have got the 2 dunks that I wanted down today, but in the end, it's a W, so I'm happy to be here and get my first W in Japan.
Lehman, Piran, and Novi Sad Al-Wada Ulaanbaatar. In other words, the fight between youth and experience. In the first semifinal, Piran had the best start, but for every basket, Stefan Stojacic would have an answer. The 28-year-old had back-to-back deuces, and then brought poor Adin Kavgic to the skating rink like it was the Ice Capades or something. But the player who once outscored Steph Curry could not outscore Gasper Ovnik. And as the game went on, and with just 3 players available, Lehman started to wear off. Anze Shrebov muscled his way in for the game-changing 3-point play. And Team Piran, who are one of the only teams who have played in every single edition of the World Tour, extended their lead and never looked back. Ovnik capped off an amazing 11-point performance with a dagger from outside the arc. And just like last year, Piran are in for the final of the Utsunomiya Masters.
In the end, I think that their fatigue shows a little. There were lack of one player, and we just kept on going straight to the pedal, and fortunately we won.
So what do you say? Are we up for some history repeating? Piran and Novi Sad Al-Wada back in the final? Ulaanbaatar and their Mongolian fans beg to differ. Last year's winners were missing their glue guy, Marco Zero, due to an ankle injury. But it was hard to tell with his sub, Nikola Pavlovich, playing so well in Japan. Ulaanbaatar had already beaten a former World Tour winner in the pools with Ljubljana, so they kept coming back. The first ever Mongolian team to play at the World Tour fought valiantly, but at some point the maestro Dejan Majsorovic stepped up like the lead dancer in tango and changed the tempo. The number 7 player in the world started knocking down shots like it was happy hour or something. Shot after shot after shot after shot. The former number 1 player in the world, Dusan Bulut, made his presence felt too, and Novi Sad Al-Wada qualified for the final. Oh, and Bulut, by the way, made his presence felt in the post-game interview, too.
Yeah, play hard defense. They have spot-up shooters, but I always say when we are on our level, there is no team that can beat us.
In fact, Dusan Bulut expected nothing less than a whole bunch of wins starting this season.
The primary goal of this season was the World Cup with the national team, but the second goal was to qualify for all 7 Masters. And not just to qualify, we want to win every Master that we're playing. We don't look at the rankings that serious. We know that we are the number 1 team for a reason. And in the end of this tournament, we will be a number 1 team. I'm sure that. And if you want to be a king, you need to beat the king, not to play around the king and beat teams on other tournaments and pretend you are the number 1 team.
Another win for Mr. Bulletproof was the construction of the Bullet Court, a 3x3 court that would not only help the team practice for the World Tour, but also serve the entire community.
Politicians are always were promising a court to make for us, specially designed for 3x3 players. They never did it. And this year I recognize opportunity to build my own court, I have money, I have space, I have people who wanted
help me to build it. It's not just a court, it's home for ourselves, you know. I built myself a playground because, you know, it is the best part of my days when I'm on that court and playing with the people and with the children. And we are planning a lot of good things on that court, not just street ball. We want to organize a lot of different events that support street culture.
Bulut broke the internet this year with a series of spectacular moves. And it all started with a couple of dirty players. Now it's Bulut against the bullies.
Back in 2014, we got a lot of dirty moves by one player and he got crossed. In China, it was the same thing, you know, the guy was putting elbows and hitting people because he couldn't stand that he's losing. So, you know, the best way for me is to humiliate your opponent, not to be on his level. A lot of people after that, you know, encourage me to do more and more stuff like that because they know I can do it and attractive to watch. And you can surely expect more things like that in future tournaments.
As Piran and Novi Sad Al-Wada prepared for a rematch of last year's final, the Japanese fans had to hope for a different outcome. Not that they favored either team, it's just that 12 months ago, Dusan Bulut and company killed the game early with a 14-1. That's right, you heard me. A 14-1 start. Maybe the game could go to overtime, like the semifinals of the Abu Dhabi final back in 2015. In any case, Piran would have to make history to win in Japan. 4 times they played Novi Sad Al-Wada at the World Tour, and 4 times they lost. Super sub Nikola Pavlovic scored 4 points early and gave Novi Sad Al-Wada a 3-point lead. Spoiler alert, this would be the biggest lead of the game. The Sphinx, Simon Fitzgar, cut into that lead with a nice alley-oop. The 25-year-old Anze Shrebo put Piran on top after a strong drive down the baseline. But the final top scorer, Dejan Majstorovic, started heating up like the leftover lasagna. Gaspar Ovnik put Dusan Bulut on a blender, and all of a sudden it got tough to breathe. A 10-10 tie became a 12-12 tie, and then a 14-14 tie. Piran looked like they finally found Novi Sad Al-Wada's kryptonite when Ovnik found Finsgar on an alley-oop in the last minute of the game.
That was beautimous. I made up a word for that.
The Maestro, though, tied things up at the free throw line. Both teams had a chance to win it in regulation, but Ovnik missed the buzzer beater, and the game was headed to overtime. And while the rule is the first team to score 2 points wins the game, both teams opted to make the game even more suspenseful by scoring 1-point baskets one after the other. And in the dying seconds of the game, you won't believe it, this happens.
The Sphinx, he got another look here. He passed up the 2, saved the ball. Dusan goes to the floor. Savage cruising in for the win. And it's Novi Sad Al-Wada doing it for a second time.
I want to congratulate the guys from Piran. They play very physical, they're very smart. We play good all tournament. I think we deserve it. But if Piran won, they probably deserve it, same like we are.
Novi Sad Al-Wada win again in Utsunomiya and clinch their ticket to the Bloomage Beijing final. And the event's top scorer, Dejan Majstorovic, of course, takes home the MVP trophy. You've seen some sick, ridiculous plays in Japan. And guess what? We kept the creme de la creme just for you. Here's our top 5. We start things off with Peter Rain-Kill telling Dusan Bulut, no, 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 like Tony Soprano.
Rain-Kill with the gangster slap on Dusan Bulut. That was like an old Italian mobster.
At number 4, Dusan Bulut treats the 3x3 ball like a hula hoop before dropping old dude off like the first day of school.
He's just toying with him with like Happy Meal. Come on.
At number 3, Minsu Park takes the back door, but Nikola Pavlovic rejects him like the parole board. Not this time. At number 2, Lehman star Stefan Stojacic makes Adin Kavgic look like Bambi on ice. I think his ankles even shed tears after that one. And at number 1, Gary Hamilton and Devon Washington ooping in the alley and getting higher than Cali. Get it? 2 weeks after their old rivals Ljubljana did it, Novi Sad Al-Wada booked their ticket to the World Tour Final on their first attempt. Good news! The 2 best 3x3 teams in the world are going to be back for the 3rd Masters of the season, live from the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Prague, Czech Republic on August the 5th and 6th. Now remember, you can follow it live with the hashtag 3x3WT on FIBA 3x3 social media channels on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. All right, so for now, peace out from Utsunomiya, y'all. We'll see you soon in Prague with the best players in the world, and of course,
Have no fear, Kyle Montgomery in your ear.